Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts, and you're catching me at True Divine 4-4. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And this is some tarot for Friday, the 11th of January 2022. Take what resonates, leave what does not. There is no offense taken. Leave a comment as to how this resonates or not with you and how you navigate in the energies of your day. So on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Three of Cups. So this is where there is this celebratory nature, friendship, happiness, togetherness, a real coming together of like-minded or like-hearted people, so to speak, because this is emotions. We've got the three dragons on that deck, sharing of the same pool, sitting on the same rock, so to speak. So there's some things that resonate with one another here. And so even though you can be very different within this group, you've found a flow with each other. On the bottom of the other deck, we have the Seven of Swords. And this is something, I'm going to come back to this. So for the first card, we've got the Five of Swords, swords meaning air, words, thoughts, intellect. A lot of you already know that, I know, but for anybody that's new, five meaning change. Change is life. Five is phi. And this speaks to change often bringing a disruption to the status quo. But with these swords, this is a conflict that if we get stuck in the number five, i.e., we get stuck in recycling the same old thoughts, the same old conflicts, the same old rhetoric at one another, the same old words, then this is a battle that nobody wins. The changing point is much of the same, a change into much more of the same energies. Often a worsening energy. The more that you're at battle with others, the more that you're in conflict with others, the more diluted and more distorted the truth becomes, until the point where you don't actually even remember what you're fighting about or what started it. That the truth is harder to see amongst the steamy thought swords of the Five of Swords. Now we've got the Nine of Wands as the clarifying card for this Five of Swords. Now the Nine of Wands, you can see he's all battered up there. He's taking a pause because at the nine, the ones meaning passion, drive, fruitfulness. At the nine, it's been a difficult slog. He's battered and bruised, and some things giving them the idea to take a pause. The green background would speak to the heart chakra also within this card. And he's standing firmly for a moment, where this Five of Swords has you in a lot of upheaval, a lot of confusion, words, swords, flying everywhere in every direction. The Nine of Wands, it would put you into the energy, if you're an intelligent person, to take a pause. Hold on, I need to look at this situation. I need to look at this thought pattern that I'm on, or I need to look at these words that are coming either from me or from another, that is causing me to be battered and bruised, and all of my fruitfulness to sort of be behind me, so to speak, and me just sort of holding on for dear life to this one wand. What have I let go of? What have I let sit in the background? What fruitfulness have I let sit in the background over this conflict that keeps being brought into my life one way or the other? And so this is where the nine is, where you're taking into account the nine is where you're taking into account a different path, a different way forward, a different way around this, a way of popping the five balloons that are the Five of Swords, to dissolve this conflict around you. And for a lot of you, this will mean moving out of certain circles of people. For a lot of this will mean maybe coming to a yet another agreement with self, that you will not enter into certain discussions with family members, that it is too far gone now. The moment you say one word, old conflicts are brought back up again, because it triggers a response that has now been learned. It's a learned response. It's like a thought memory, a muscle memory. And so If you look at the number 9 and you apply it to the number 5, you would get 14. Yeah, the 9 is really special in that it replicates not just itself in a number, but replicates any other number. So again, you would be back 1 plus 4 is 5. And so this is where we must be discerning in this 9 of wands. We do not want to apply the same old 9 that we've already walked, the same old 9 paths that we've already walked, in order to come back to a 5 of swords that is similar to a 5 of swords that we want to let go of, the conflict that we want to let go of. But in the same application, we can see that looking at the path, being discerning about where you are at, however this resonates with you, however, whichever aspect of your life that fits in with you, you can come back to a 5 that matters, your 5 elements, 5, life, and everything being built up on energy and the elements that represent those different energies within you and around you, in order to take yourself out of this conflict zone. It's very much so that on all battlegrounds of the mind right now, we are being divided. We've been from the mass to the unmasked, to Ukraine to Russia. Divide, 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 divide. Within that, they're tearing apart more and more togetherness, more and more friendships. And so this would be to really take into account, to take note of the people around you that resonate with you, that hold you up, that want to see you do well, and use that and apply that to these 2 cards that I've just been describing, the 5 of swords and the 9 of wands. Now, going into the next card, it's the 4 of pentacles. So the 4 of pentacles would speak to firm foundations, but it would also speak to, with this 7 of cups in reverse, it would speak to trying to hold on to the status quo, even old conflicts that cause you to be battered and bruised, just because they feel comfortable, because it's what you've known for any length of time. It's become comfortable. You become comfortable in the conflict, comfortable in the adrenaline rush of waiting for the conflict. If you say certain words or do certain things, this is where you can cling on and be miserly with the existence that you have, and not willing to take a jump into new projects, new ideas, new emotional drives, new emotional pulls, because in the upright, the 7 of cups, again on a green heartfelt background, is what really pushes you. Where does your heart lie? And in the 7 of cups, it very often is that people need to dwindle down to find which one to take on first, because the 7 of cups can be a bit overwhelming, too many choices all at once. And so with that, again, that is easy to put you into the miserly energy of just not doing any of them at all, because you'll just cling on to the status quo, because it seems a bit daunting to look at the 7 of cups in reverse. Where does your heart lie? Do you know where your heart lies? No, you're in black, you're in shadow, you can't see. You've got these images in your mind, in your heart, of what you want to attain, where you want to go, how you want to be with others. But actually, because of this conflict that you have gotten into for some length of time, and on a collective level, that counts, you try and cling on to the status quo, even though the status quo doesn't seem to be serving you too well. It's more comfortable because it's what you know. It's what we're seeing on a collective scale, as in divide and divisiveness, racism, prejudice, spiritual racism has become comfortable for many people, and many people's egos are wrapped up in this comfortability of this divisiveness, of this hatred and prejudice. So on a collective scale, we're seeing it still work. The same old tricks, just with slightly different labels, slightly different contexts, working yet again on the so-called awake side, the so-called asleep side, just as much as each other. And there are the few in between that can see through this and refuse to say, I won't be pulled this way, I won't be pulled that way. staying in the middle, staying in balance. And so with that, we've got the Page of Cups. And to clarify the Page of Cups, we have got the Queen of Wands. On a wider scale collectively, this would speak to me as in the conflict and the discernment, very much so, that is needed going forward, is this attack on the woman, on the mother, on the divine feminine, particularly on the mother, in the context of the collective are being very triggered right now, and womanhood is being rubbed out with a huge big eraser at a government level. And virtue signaling of that on social media is pushing that drive. And many people are afraid to get involved because those key words, triggering words, would mean your prejudice. And we must dissolve all sex and gender and everything else. It has to be this confused state of allowing even less of what we are, even down to the bodies that we are born with. And so with that being said, on a collective level, this would very much speak to the mother, the divine feminine, the womb, the dark woman manifest, represented in this black cat sitting between her legs as a god to the divine chamber where creation can be birthed from. This peace, this flower here, this sunflower, representing peace, and a lot of people just want in that peace. But unfortunately, the energies would say that with the Seven of Swords, something's being stolen, a thought process, a thought pattern is being changed in broad daylight. And the implications of it for this realm, for the balancing of our collective scales, are pretty massive if they succeed in wiping out and rubbing out the divine feminine, the female, the woman, the womb, any more than they already have done. It will affect the children greatly. It would also speak to me collectively regarding abortion. Miscarriage would be the kinder word, but medically it is abortion. And medically, I would say that has been induced in many unknowingly. And we all know what from. This would speak to these numbers, something about these numbers coming out even more so today or this weekend, this week. They like to release things on the weekend when they think nobody's watching. Now, from a point of view at a more personal level, this would speak to for many of the parents out there, for the women being attacked by partners, ex-partners via children, very much so. And this returning conflict and how it keeps applying itself and duplicating itself, and that wanting to cling on to you via controlling a child is very apparent today. Ask you to rise above that, say, blow my house down to that monster from your past and see how hard they can blow, because a lot of them are just full of bluster. And it's time for the mothers to stand up right now in their own divine and sovereign right as mothers, as a role that they were given. As far as others, as far as for the men in the room, those of you that are bringing up children, co-parenting or trying to co-parent, the same goes, but in a way that some of you, and this might be triggering to hear because it might be very raw with that Five of Swords, some of you in particular might be dealing with the fact that a mother of your child is very much on board with the narrative, and you can see the conditioning happening through the mother by proxy of the government to that child, and the confusion of sexual state orientation, however the child is describing it to you or showing it to you in behavior. So be super aware of that. Whoever I'm speaking to directly here, the terror that you feel of wanting to cling on to contact is that I get it, it's difficult. As far as the cards would say, it would say far more is being stolen by you wanting to cling on to the status quo. I would advise you to be working alongside friends and family that support you in order to fight this fight for your child, to be able to be free thinking without conditioning, without tyrannical mothering. What else? There's something about a storyline that will be put out in mainstream media regarding mother and child, child and mother, that is distorted, to say the very least. More will come of that. But remember, whatever is being stolen from you is a thought pattern, a thought process in the light of day, in bright sunshine. Take control of your thoughts, apply your number 9, your discernment, to the conflict, and find a different way to make that same number of change. 5, 5, Odin, Odin, to seek a different path, to apply the 5 in a good way, to dissolve said conflict. Now, for most of you that resonated with this reading, that conflict ain't going to be dissolved by you participating in it at all. It's going to continue to apply the 9 to itself and continue to rebirth and rebirth and rebirth. So ghosting is needed here in this conflict, i.e. a ghosting of a complete topic with family or friends, a ghosting as in no more contact, done, 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 a ghosting as in moving friendship circles, or circles that you found yourself in, and not being afraid to let go of the status quo or the foundations that you have built up until now, however this applies to you. So yeah, I think that's about it for Friday for the energies. I hope this helps you navigate the energies for your greatness, for your sovereignty and your divinity, and that you find an abundance of clarity within the energies, whatever energies you find yourself, whether they're the energies that resonate with this reading or not, within today, Friday, the 11th of March. Much love, balance and wholeness. Check out Divinity on Facebook. Still need to get an Instagram up of it. Check out True Divine 44 on Facebook. Give it a like, give it a share. Do appreciate it. If you want a personal reading with me, spiritual coaching, energy bending and cleansing sessions, get in touch with me, truedivinemedia@gmail.com. Doing group energy bending, cleansing sessions, doing one-on-one spiritual coaching and readings. Can do group readings, have a party. If it's local, I'll be there with you physically to party up the vibe anyway. If you're not local, get a group of friends. I'll send you a link and you can have a Zoom party of readings, as long as you don't mind others participating in your reading. So having people with you that you trust, and being able to know that I'll keep it light, but if I need to say anything else afterwards, I'll be dropping you an email that's more private. Anyway, much love, balance and wholeness. As I said before, you're great, I'm great, sun's great, moon's great, we're all great.